how to start out on your walk. It's a massive topic. It's a topic that so many people ask us. I literally have uncontrollable walks. Walks are chaos, walks are difficult, walks are stressful. My dog absolutely doesn't know where to look, where to be, how to think. It's a very common struggle area, right, Tom?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those that actually you can kind of like firefight and just make look okay, and you just kind of get through it. But in actually getting through it, what you tend to do is you tend to create a situation of it getting worse every time and more management being needed.
And at the same time, your walk is supposed to be your most enjoyable part of your day, the part of your day that you really get to look forward to, the part of your day that you really want to enjoy. And I suppose for me, it's a crying shame if you don't get to enjoy that special moment with your dog each and every day.
Absolutely. And so we start the walk actually with just establishing that it's all pretty calm. So, we're not immediately trying to impose ourselves on our dogs. We're actually just letting them, see the environment, see the crazy cameraman, letting them sniff, letting them, actually just learn that it's a bit of like a non-event. We're not immediately, going to be tennis ball, crazy. We're not immediately going to be feeding, because you know what? That's the time when they're maybe likely to think, actually, I don't really want the food right now because I'm kind of in a new environment and I'm exploring. So the first tip is don't immediately start nagging your dog, imposing yourself on your dog.
Grabbing at your dog or trying to maybe check them or check in on them.
Yeah. Instead, what you're going to do is you're just going to lower your energy, right? Lower the energy, calm it all down.
Just be around your dog and actually assess kind of where you are and how you are. So our second tip in starting your walk outright with your dog, making sure that walk is a success, is make sure you've got the correct equipment for you and your dog. So here right now, both of our dogs are wearing flat collars and leads. At the same time, we may consider a harness, we may consider a 2-clip harness, we may consider using the right sort of considerations for the dog that we're working with. Both of these dogs have effectively graduated onto having a loose lead and effectively a flat collar, and that's what they walk in. However, there are times that they would have been on harnesses, 2-point clips. There are considerations we can make there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Nice. Good job. And one thing that we've always got to be doing, and I love that was almost like it's
like
planned,
it was like a moment of bang.
Is that there was
living
a big
in a farm
loud
area.
gunshot, right? And so even though we're trying to keep the energy nice and calm, we've got our dogs on the appropriate equipment. What we also need to be doing is being aware of the environment. So we've got plan A, but sometimes plan B, and plan B might be just to let our dogs know that's nothing to worry about with a bit of food.
And it might be actually that would be the appropriate moment to reinforce in some way with our dog. It might be a game. For her, it would probably be let her off lead at times. Like sometimes when things like that happen, let her off lead because she's done a great job by not acknowledging it. How about actually allowing her to be off lead? You know what? Starting your walk off right is about having the right equipment for you and your dog. Equally, I think point 3 for me would be reading the individual. She's actually, when she's out, she's not particularly foodie, or her biggest reinforcers are giving off lead opportunities and giving sniffing and giving swimming. Magma's much more reinforced by working with food. You know what you need to do is make that session bespoke to your dog. So find the fun in what they do, find the fun in each environment, find the fun in the job that you're giving them, and let them find the fun in that back. Vice versa.
Absolutely. And as we've got a dog who now you see the kind of change in them, they're kind of inviting us to interact with them. It's then that we might start to reward them with food more frequently. It might be that we try a little game and see how they respond to that game. But what we're not going to do is immediately get them into a new environment and start to almost nag them, because all that's going to do is set up this relationship of, oh, we go somewhere fun, and then there's this big ogre that starts telling me what I should and shouldn't be doing.
Now, the important thing is starting out right in terms of walking your dog is actually preparing. So like we said early on, fail to prepare, prepare to fail. Make sure you're prepared for it, because I think for me, and knowing also sometimes what type of walk we're going on. So actually right now, we are going on a walk, but we also have a purpose with it. Deciding that, I think, from the outset, so preparing exactly what you're out for, and then from that you get a better, I feel, experience from it.
Absolutely. And so what we want to get across to you in this teaching is that actually one of the reasons why often we find ourselves managing or firefighting or struggling or maybe getting a little bit stressed is because, well, we think we must walk our dogs. We have to walk our dogs. We have to walk our dogs twice a day. And therefore, it's like, right, the being on lead is painful. Being on lead is not fun. Being on lead is stressful for me as an owner. Let's just, let them pull. Let's get them to the end goal of eventually getting to an off-lead space. And then let's just release them and let them free. And every day it gets worse and worse and worse. And every day we put ourselves in that situation because we think we must walk them.
It becomes something of a, you tell me if we're right here, it becomes something of an area you feel guilty for.
Yeah.
You feel guilty for not allowing your dog true off-leash freedom.
Yeah.
You feel guilty for not taking your dog out at a set time. You feel guilty for your dog not having other dog friends in the dog park. You feel guilty for the fact that maybe you could have trained them better when they were younger so they could be easier. You know what? Here's the brilliant moment about what we're doing. You need to stop feeling guilty. You have permission to stop feeling guilty. You have permission to sometimes say, right now, I'm not going to walk you. Right now, I'm going to reset my walk.
Yeah, and permission to take your time. Like, if our dogs are upping the energy, that probably means we need to bring our energy down, just slow it all down. Think about the strategies that you've got. And yet, if you're on a mission to get to off-lead space, then all we're doing is constantly upping the energy. And what we've got here now are two dogs who are nice and calm. They're checking in with us. They're wanting to be nice and close. Yeah, they're checking out the environment, but what we're not going to do is nag them. Instead, we're just going to, remind them where best to be, slow it all down, and now they're in the headspace that they could go off lead.
And you've got two dogs here who both have a tendency to be interested in everything around them. This one for sure absolutely thinks that hunting's a great option, finding birds or pheasants or they're birds too, or mice or critters or rabbits. You know what, you name it, she'll be interested in it. So what I would say is, really, these strategies and these games and these ideas for you, they take you way above the environment, because no longer does she want the environment, because we're setting up these walks in such a great way.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, now we might be in a space where we could think about letting our dog off lead.
Part 2.
Which is what we're going to cover in part 2. Remember, game changers, whatever the dog owning struggle, there's a game for that.
If you haven't already, remember to subscribe to our channel.
And check out our new 25-day online dog training challenge. Watch the videos, play the games, transform your dog owning struggles.
As a loyal YouTube subscriber, you can get a 70% discount through the link in the description below.
And if you haven't already, subscribe to the #1 most transformational dog training podcast on iTunes and Spotify, the Sexier Than a Squirrel podcast.
And remember to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for more live teaching, video content and free training using the links in the description.